Hey everybody, welcome to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and surprisingly, this is not a video on Deadpool and Wolverine. This is coming out the day before, Thursday is kind of the big day that it comes out. I'm not seeing it until Friday, but then the next day, it's going to be Hall H, San Diego Comic-Con. Marvel has their 1 hour long panel. And I challenged Greg to this. I'm not sure if he's accepted or not, but I'm going to do my video on this of 3 things I expect to be announced at Hall H. We're going to throw in one extra kind of bonus one. So the first thing that I expect to be announced at Hall H is I expect we're going to get the cast and like all the official castings roles for people in the Fantastic Four. We're going to see the whole Fantastic Four cast on stage. We're going to figure out who John Malkovich is playing. We're going to figure out who some of the other characters or actors that they've announced are playing. I think they announced those actors early so that we could get excited for them, because I think one of the other cast announcements for Fantastic Four that we're going to get there is going to be Doctor Doom. This is all just in that first guess, by the way. So that's the first thing I expect from San Diego Comic-Con. The next thing I expect is we're going to get the title for Avengers 5. Kevin Feige kind of played it coy that like, it could be or couldn't be a 2-part Secret Wars. I don't think we're getting a 2-part Secret Wars. I think we're going to get 1-part Secret Wars, and I think we're going to get a setup movie. There's rumors that Marvel has cast a new actor to play Kang, but I don't think Kang then becomes the big bad guy. I think they're doing that because they feel like they need to wrap up what Quantumania promised with the Council of Kangs, with that whole situation, obviously, with Jonathan Majors, that completely scrapped all the plans that they had for Kang going forward. I guess he was in Loki, but that was already shot and taken care of by the time all the news broke around Majors and the legal process played out. So I think we're going to hear some announcement around that. And this actually might be the spot we get our Doctor Doom casting, if they go with the direction that I think they might. And I have nothing really substantiate this on. I think there are 2 general directions that people think they'll go, though. And the one I personally want is I want it to be something called like the Rise of Doom, something like that, to build up Doom as the bad guy for a battle world type situation. Something that I expect or hope to see set up in Deadpool and Wolverine. Something, or at least that's going to explain how people from all sorts of universes are coming here. The other option would be something like Avengers versus X-Men. And this could be the Fox X-Men universe against the Avengers from the MCU universe. Incursion happening. Both of them are fighting for their world. I think either of those is a fairly likely storyline. I lean away from the Fox X-Men one because do we really need to see them back again? Is Deadpool and Wolverine going to be enough of a send-off for those characters? I don't think anybody would complain about seeing them again, but do we really need to see them again? Then I think we're going to get a couple movies announced. I think the slate is fairly busy, but I think, and I'm going to pick actually only one of them to be my movie that's announced. I think they're going to announce Midnight Suns. I think they're going to announce Midnight Suns because I think they're going to talk about Blade. I think they're going to talk about as to why Blade has been delayed. A lot of that is Bob Chapek. When he was there, he wanted to rush out announcements, stuff like that, get people to subscribe to Disney Plus, make money off of Disney Plus, that sort of thing. But now that he's gone, I think they're gonna talk about it a little bit like, hey, yeah, we want to slow roll this. We want to get the story right because Blade is going to be a key player in the MCU going forward, and he's going to have his own section of the Marvel universe that was hinted at in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And we want to make sure that we do that right for the section with vampires, for the section with monsters that go bump in the night, and we care about that because Blade is going to be the leader of a new team, the Midnight Suns. And we're going to do a Midnight Suns movie after Blade comes out. Probably not the one immediately after that, but they're going to do something, and they might even announce like some of the characters or some of the team that they plan for the Midnight Suns, whether that's like a Wolverine or a Ghost Rider, somebody like that who's gonna get the audience excited about that again, and more kind of on side with like, yeah, let's get this right. And then my final one is kind of my honorable mention one that I think is a little bit out of left field. It could happen, but if it is announced, it's going to be announcing stuff that's a long ways out. And I think Feige, smartly so, and Iger, I think Iger is more on board with this than Chapek was, that they could announce some titles or some of the mutants who are going to get their first movies. Feige, I believe, has still kept very strong with not saying X-Men. He's saying mutants. And he keeps on saying that, obviously referencing like we have Miss Marvel and Namor as mutants already in the MCU. I think there was another mutant technically in the prison with Red Guardian in the Black Widow movie. So there's potential that we already have some mutants in the MCU. I did a theory video about how Deadpool and Wolverine might be a exceedingly important movie for bringing mutants into the MCU or planting them there as if they had always existed. I have no idea if that's right. I have avoided spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine. That is my plan. I will not be reading comments on this video, by the way, until after I see Deadpool and Wolverine, just in case somebody tries to spoil it. But if they're set up in Deadpool and Wolverine, could Feige say, and after Secret Wars, we're going to have our first mutant movies? We're getting a Gambit and Rogue movie. We're getting an X-Force movie. We're getting a Storm origin story. We're getting a Brotherhood story. We're getting Krakoa. We're getting something. We're building in a unique world of mutants, and we're starting to lay the groundwork for that. And we're starting to lay that teamwork element for creating that X-Men team. Much like they did with the original start of the MCU, they tossed out some characters and then they made them into the Avengers. And much like I think is what we're feeling like we're missing now, we don't have that team up movie that kind of feels like it ties the universe together before characters go back out and do their own thing, then ties it back together from time to time. So I suspect they're going to want to try and come back to that with the X-Men and with mutants and introducing them. So could they announce, like I said, some character-based movies? I think Storm is a great opportunity for them. I like Gambit and Rogue a lot. I mean, that's just me, but I think that also is really unique ground to kind of pick on. And Even something like Wolverine, I don't know that they're going to dip back into the Wolverine well that quickly, because everybody loves Hugh Jackman in that role so much, which is fair. But I think they're going to want to slow play Wolverine. But there are other characters out there as well, Nightcrawler and Mystique, who could have some interesting stories around them. I mean, just having a solo Charles film as he starts to become who he is, that could be interesting as well. Let me know your thoughts on these different theories. Which ones do you hope are happening at Comic Con? Are there any that you think really should happen? Are you hoping that they announce like 8 new movies or 4 new movies and 4 new shows at Comic Con? What do you think potentially they might be talking about on Saturday in Hall H? And I plan probably Saturday night after Hall H is done to put out a video talking about what has been announced. If you enjoy this content, check out the previous videos that we have. There are a few speculations on Deadpool and Wolverine that you can check out before you go into the movie, or if you're just curious on some different ideas, as well as a whole bunch of other backlog of content that you can watch as well. If you enjoy this content, this conversation around this, join us for 10 Minute Marvel, the podcast that comes out every Tuesday. You can find that wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. Some links down in the description below as well. But with that, we'll see you next time.